Hi, and welcome to Happy Fisherman Adventures.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.
Who's the happy fisherman now?
Me!
Today's adventure is with our friends, new friends, George and Christian.
George actually texted me and, messaged me and asked, can we take his 10-year-old son, Christian, fishing, as he's a big fan of Happy Fisherman and he never caught a King Gorge whiting. So that happened 12 months ago. Unfortunately busy, this, that. So finally we made a commitment. We said, okay, we're going to do it. So we grabbed some time. So Monday, we went on a big mission.
That's right.
Before that, just quick. Western Port, Corinella, snapper still going on. Our friend David sent us pictures. He's getting beautiful whiting and heaps of garfish around the Western Port. Outside, we got barrels in front of Flinders. We got barrels, if you're out of Bowen Heads, you go towards Torquay, the barrels are between 20 and 30 meters. They in shallows. People go into 70, 80 meters coming back with donuts. So apparently the fish is very close in. Next thing is obviously our lovely bay, Port Phillip Bay. And here we're getting snapper at the moment, bits and pieces. It's not hot bite, but they're getting them off Mount Martha, Mornington, Black Rock, early mornings Black Rock, Ricketts Point, but Ricketts Point's we only seen smaller fish coming in, and Webb Dock, land-based Webb Dock, and Port Arlington rocks. Other than that, squid started. There is all around the Port Sea, and a big squid around the Queenscliff. Even that we were there, we didn't get any. So you have to be there in the right time, right moment. The same with the whiting today. So you can be at the same spot forever. You need to move around, try to find them. Once you find them and they're on the chew, you're in the game.
Well, today's episode with George and Christian is about silver whiting at Clifton Springs and King Gorge at Queenscliff.
And we got some squid. Let's watch the first video. Well, this adventure for us starts with new faces. George and his son Christian, who's a big fan of Happy Fisherman Adventures, are on board with us today. About 12 months ago, we got a message from George about his son Christian, who actually loves fishing, but he only caught some redfin and he would like to catch some whiting. Well, it took some time as we were very busy, but today was the day. Before we even start, I would like to mention that we were surprised how well this kid behaves, how respectful he was, how he listens to his dad, and how well he fishes. Well, our first destination was Clifton Springs. I told him that over there we're catching some silver whiting at the moment and some small whiting, but it's all fun. So let's do it. At Clifton Springs we fish in about 6 meters of water straight in front of the boat ramp. Well, as usual, while I was cutting the bait, setting up the cameras, Mima already started to bring them in. It was our target fish, and that's a silver whiting. So, for little Christian, that was first time to see one of those. To make everything even more interesting, the father and son had a little bet. If George catches the first fish, Christian has to take the rubbish out for 2 weeks. If Christian catches the first fish, George has to feed his birds for 2 weeks. And the winner is...
Oh, it's whiting! Oh, bring it in!
Well, as you can see here, Christian actually got the second fish as well, and this time it was the silver whiting.
Silver! He's got a silver! Awesome! It's a silver, that's awesome!
At this stage, young Christian was calling double or nothing, but his father George was saying, no, I'm not falling for that. Sometimes having fun like that, it just spices up everything and makes everything more fun. Here you can see how I actually fillet the pilchard, and actually I make small squares out of it. And that's our main bite. I normally get rid of all the bones, well, the spine, and then just cut it up in a little squares. That's all. The rig that we use to catch silver whiting is just a simple paternoster with small hooks, as you can see here. If you guys watched our previous episodes, you would know that we actually love using pilchard and squid cocktail even when we target King Gorge whiting. Today I didn't have my sea view gadget with us, but I had my burley bucket with my camera underwater, but all we could see later, it was benja sharks. They were just smashing onto my burley bucket. Even that the benja shark was dominating in front of our cameras, we were still catching King Gorge whiting, but just too small. They were way too small. As you can see here, we were quite busy, and even we were just throwing them back, it was fun. But beside the King Gorge whiting, there was lots and lots of small flatheads. Again, quite undersized, and they had to go back. At this stage, underwater camera was showing no one benja shark, but two benja sharks, and they were somehow attacking my burley bucket. Again, even we were seeing only benja sharks on the camera, we actually keep catching whiting, silver whiting and flatheads, no problems at all. By this stage, George started getting quite a few fish, but it was too late. The bet was already won by a young Christian.
As you saw in the first video, at Clifton Springs we have been catching lots of King Gorge whiting, but they were very small. However, we were happy with the silver whiting.
Yeah, we got quite a few silver whiting. George and Christian were happy. Let's watch the next video. Well, our adventure continues, and somehow the flatties start to actually dominate at the moment. After I checked my underwater camera again, this time we had 3 benja sharks hanging around, and some flatties as well. The interesting fact is that we did not hook one of them. Normally we hook them every 2 minutes. I lost so many rigs to benja sharks, that's ridiculous. But today they were there, but we didn't hook them, which is actually great. Then, to our surprise, George caught a barracuda. He actually said that he dropped the rig, he didn't even hit the bottom and something took it. Well, this is what actually happened. This fish we actually don't eat, but it's a great bite for gummy, it's a great bite for snapper, so this one comes with us. On the other side, Mima was still catching King Gorge whiting. Mima was using the Redis Tiganost rig, and normally, well, predominantly that rig would catch King Gorge whiting. But yeah, we got actually silver whiting on it as well. Then the smallest rod around, which is my garfish rod, took off. And this time I had another barracuda. The rigging on this rod was actually a small long shank hooks and small split rod sinker. So I normally put it at the back and sinks very slow. Well, didn't have a chance to sink because barracuda picked it up. This time around, under the boat, on my camera I could actually see some King Gorge whiting. This particular one was actually mucking around in the grass, then he came out in the sand, and just above him, if you can see in this shot there is actually a squid that came above it, which we didn't know that day there. I do always say keep one squid jig in the water because of these kind of situations. This time we didn't have one, and look what happened. We could have actually ended up with a squid as well. Anything that we know as King Gorge whiting grounds definitely contains squid because they're a mixture of obviously grass and sand patches. A few minutes later, everything gets spooked by another banjo shark. The burley I had this time in my burley bucket was the Here fishy burley, and obviously containing aniseed and tuna oil attracts all kind of fish. We have been about an hour and a half in on this spot, and we did get quite a few King Gorge whiting, but they're way too small. Also, we got quite a few flatheads as well, but they were too small as well. Since flatheads start to dominate the situation, we actually decided we need to move. So this time we're gonna try for some squid at the Broken Pier.
Little Christian wanted to catch a squid, so we decided to move.
Well, we moved at Broken Pylons at Clifton Springs. We got some squid. After we went south and we got some beautiful whiting. So let's watch the next video. One thing we forgot to mention is that the weather was on our side. The water was flat, a bit of overcast. It was actually very pleasant. On the way to the Broken Pylons, we actually just stopped by my friend Lenny, who actually was fishing for King Gorge, and he actually managed about 10 of them that actually really good size. At the Broken Pylons we obviously drift, and before you know, we already had one squid. We didn't even have the cameras ready. So Mima took some photos and we tried for a couple more. The action wasn't hot, but we managed to get 3 all up. We spent about, half an hour there, and then in meantime I got a phone call from my friend Jeff Comenzuli, and he said, look, on the other side towards Queenscliff, they managed to get some bigger King Gorge whiting, so if I want to go and meet him there. We took off towards Queenscliff, and by the time we got there, Jeff already left the spot. As we got there, the water was slack, but once the water started going out, the action was crazy. I'm not gonna cut the footage, I'm gonna leave this front camera on so you can have a look how quick we were getting fish and have a look the size of them. They were actually really good size, some of them to 42, 43 centimeters. So just again, small pieces straight down the back.
Oh my god, look at this one.
Made that
That's a good one.
Hey, I want a picture.
I think you should be catching fish. I won't worry about the picture.
Can you take this one off the lower the hook? No, there is another fish on here.
Well, as you can see, the action was crazy. We were getting fish after fish. At this stage, young Christian decided to sit down respectfully to let us get some dinner, and then he's gonna have a shot. Keep in mind, once the fish start going like this, try teamwork because it does help, and normally this action doesn't last for hours. It's maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, so use the most of it at that moment. Somehow I didn't have time to load the rod. Mima was already on another fish. Saying that, I didn't even have time to set up all the cameras. I only had the front camera. By the time I put the back camera, she already got another one and just kept going.
Hey, there is a fish on this one.
I need to... Okay.
In the next video, you're going to see that the King Gorge whiting was still on the true.
It was a short period of time that they were actually going crazy. It was about half an hour, and you had to be there at that moment, otherwise you would miss the bite. So we were lucky, I suppose. We ended up with a few good fish.
Really nice.
And George and Christian had smiles everywhere.
Let's watch the next video.
20 minutes on this spot and non-stop action. At this stage, George got another one. So we tried to make another deal with young Christian so he can give his dad 1 week off feeding the birds.
I'll give him a week off or not? That's going to give Dad a week off.
I did put the underwater camera here just to see what kind of ground is and what's going on out there. Quite a bit of kelp, grass, sandy patches, tall grass as well. But funny enough, we were catching fish after fish, but no one fish on the screen. In the meantime, while we were plucking all this whiting out, I did call Jeff to come back because they only had 4 fish beforehand, and I told him they just started. So he was on his way to meet us here. Again, underwater for 15-20 minutes that we filmed, no one fish. Yet we were plucking them like no tomorrow. At this stage, Christian came to help me a little bit. Interesting fact is that out of all the fish that we caught, only 2 were on the running rig. Every single one was on Paternoster rig. If you watch closely on my bite board, I did not have pippies, I did not have mussels or anything. It's just pilchard. They absolutely loved the pilchard. After weeks of catching small, undersized whiting, finally we got onto a patch that's actually decent size. This fish was between 38 to 43 centimeters. We did try this area before with no success, so it just shows you that fish moves all the time. It just shows that you have to be at the right place at the right time. And that sometimes is just luck. Well, we had quite a few fish and Christian came to give us a hand. So his dad gets 1 fish and he was concentrating. Next moment, he had a bite. The young fella was very patient. And yeah, in next moment you're gonna see he showed us all how it's done. Now, the smile on this kid, it's priceless.
How good is that? How good is that?
Very good.
Very good. Bring him up, bring him up. Slowly, slowly. Wind down, wind down, wind down, wind down. Now lift. Now wind down.
Oh,
Bring him
no
up.
wonder he's
Bring him up, bring him up. Oh,
well
yeah.
done.
Now you got another week. Now you got another week, Daddy. Huh? How good is that? Who's the happy fisherman now?
Me.
As you can see, father and son bonding, spending time together, catching fish, having fun, just priceless. It's amazing. And we encourage all of you, grandparents, take your grandkids out. Anybody, just spend some quality time on the water because it is amazing. We can say we were blessed with the weather. We can say big thank you to Jeff Comenzuli, to our friend that actually gave us the tip to try this end of the bay. At the same time, yeah, Jeff came back and he managed to catch quite a few fish as well. All in all, another great adventure with beautiful people.
Thank you, brilliant. Us out for fishing. I love catching squid, and we have lunch for a couple of days. Thank you.
Last week we were special guest at Greensboro, so there is a short video of it.
Let's watch it.
Cindy and Nita from Happy Fisherman. Thank you very much.
We welcome all of you guys, and
Thank you for having us.
of course, in the main presentation today we got asked because a lot of you guys fish around St. Leonard and that, just to kind of, well, refresh, because sometimes we do need to just refresh our memories and what's going on. So, there is heaps of King Gorge whiting at the moment there. They're very small, they're fiddly, they're not easy to catch, but they're there. Our most popular footage is obviously our underwater camera. And this is the first time that we actually captured the whiting coming to the camera and posing, because usually they're far away from the boat. So it is important now to try and collect as much as bite we can, because there's plenty around. We've been getting silver whiting at Clifton Springs, and that's the episode that I said this weekend. We've been getting yuccas, and they're not that big, they're just nice size. So when the snapper comes in, you're ready. Lately, we actually test so many, and at the moment we stuck with this. That's the 5
Sunset at Clifton Springs, definitely the orange or the pink one.
Usually gummies are always in the drop-offs. So all these drop-offs here, all these drop-offs here along this edge, you fish. It's so simple, it's unbelievable. Because gummies like the drop-offs, and they sit at the bottom, that's where they trouble. And every time we see gummy on the camera, they don't stay. Shark needs to move all the time. That's how they breathe. Thank you all for your support. We really appreciate it. Tight lines, everyone.
And thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will see you next time.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.
Who's the happy fisherman now?
Me.